I regret a lot that Bret is as negative as he is. He's a very dark, negative person when he talks about certain things. I'm sure there's parts of Bret's life where he's not. But, Bret's always been the kind of guy that's got to be mad at somebody. He hates Vince. He hates Shawn. He hates Hebner. He hates Hogan. He hates Bischoff. He hates Goldberg. He's this guy. Bret has a tendency to blame the entire world for whatever goals Bret hasn't achieved that he thought he should. A lot of this responsibility, I know you're a fan of Bret's, and I don't mean to be cruel or non-feeling about it, but Bret needs to man the fuck up and accept some responsibility for some of the decisions and choices he made. Because Bret could have come in and Bret could have said no. Bret could have said, Eric, I don't think that's the best idea, and here's why. He didn't do that.
And
okay,
so much of it, just to go full circle, so much of it goes back to that Vince McMahon hold that he just seemed to have on people. You heard time and time again, Vince McMahon was a father figure. Vince McMahon was a father figure. And the situation that happened in Montreal was in many respects a contract breaking down. And
you don't know Bret personally, or maybe you do, I don't know. But Bret was so caught up in the Canadian hero thing, which is what led to the whole thing at Montreal anyway. Bret should have just done the job. However Vince wanted to do it. And I told Bret that. Bret called me before all this went down because he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how. He wanted to make sure he returned the belt in the right way for his character.
Yeah.
He actually called me, and I remember where I was. I took the call, and I'm listening to Bret, and I said, Bret, I don't really care. Do the job anywhere, however Vince wants you to do it. It doesn't matter. You're Bret freaking Hart. The audience knows the score. It's not like people are going to be shocked.
Yeah.
You are leaving. It's their title. This is how things go.
And also,
there's
no way you could have risked doing anything with the WWF title anyway, was there? Because you were so caught in litigation. There's no way you'd risk that at that time.
No. So I tried so hard to convince, because Bret was so emotional about giving up the belt. And I tried to convince him there's no reason to be. You're Bret Hart. You're so much bigger than that belt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If anything, you losing is going to make them more excited to see what's going to happen with your future when you get here. They're not going to look at you as damaged goods because you left the belt in WWE. It's childish to think that way. But I will tell you, Bret was so caught up in his Canadian hero legendary status that in his mind, because he believes it so much to this day, he was going to let his fans down. That's what led to the Montreal Screwjob. It's, I hate to say it, this is going to get you some heat, get me some heat on your show. But when Vince McMahon said Bret screwed Bret, Bret did screw Bret, because Bret didn't do business the way Bret should have done business. And Vince was forced to do something that Vince didn't want to do. He was forced to do. And that affected Bret so much emotionally because he was so overly invested in his Canadian hero legendary status that it hurt him emotionally. When he got to WCW, he was depressed. He wasn't, hey, I'm here. Maybe we do something with Hogan. Okay, how do I get involved? There was absolutely zero excitement on his part. And it wasn't just me that noticed it. Bret would show up a half hour before TV show would start. He'd come moping in the corner, dragging his bag, and go find a place in the corner of the locker room to sit down and barely engage with anybody. That's on Bret. Was my decision, my choice, our decision, our choice, the absolute best it could have been? Of course not. Did Bret help that situation? No, because he was too caught up in his own emotion, sadness, and disappointment in his status as a Canadian hero, in his fear that his audience would think less of him. That's pretty childish. That's like an actor in a movie that gets shot at the end, and he's afraid the audience is going to be disappointed because their favorite good guy got shot in the end of the